You know, over the last couple of years, we've given you a lot of different book recommendations here on this channel. We've given you the books that are actually inside of our program, our recommended reading list for all the men of Rebuilt Recovery. We've given you Your Brain on Porn. We've given you Surfing for God. We've talked about the Perfect Day Formula. We've talked about Dopamine Nation and even had Dr. Anna Lemke on the podcast. We talked about fasting. We had Dave Asprey break down his book, Fast This Way. But in this video, I want to give you 3 different new book recommendations that I believe all young men should read. So if you're under 30 and you're struggling with porn and masturbation, these books are going to give you a new way of thinking. They're going to give you a new perspective. They're going to equip you with new tools, new belief systems, and new ways about approaching your life, your recovery, and ultimately stepping into the life that you know you were created to live. But before we jump into the books, guys, let me remind you who we are, what we do here. My name is Frank Rich, CEO, founder, and head coach at Rebuilt Recovery. And it is our mission to help men become better men by quitting porn first and then rebuilding their lives. So if you're new to the channel and haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button right there and also turn those post notifications on. But let's get into today's video. Okay, I think the first book that all young men should read, and specifically if you're struggling with breaking out of a porn addiction, is No More Mr. Nice Guy. We actually had Dr. Robert Glover on the podcast about 1.5 years ago, and we got to get into the mindset of Dr. Robert Glover when he wrote this book and who he wrote it for. And this is for the men that out there that are struggling with maybe finding their way. They're struggling with building confidence. They believe that the path to getting what they want out of life is to become the nice guy that does everything for everybody else. But brother, if you're struggling with a pornography addiction, you got to start doing things for you first. You got to begin to build the self-confidence, the belief in who you are and who God created you to be. And what you'll realize is when you allow people to walk on you, it puts you in a victim type of a mindset. And that's a very challenging place to recover from. So if you can read Dr. Robert Glover's book, if you can begin to live out the practices and the principles that he teaches in this book, not only do I believe you're going to be able to conquer your porn addiction, but you're going to step into bigger meaning. You're going to step into more confidence for yourself. You're going to step into the life, like I said, that God has created you and designed you to live. So the first book that all young men should read, specifically if you're struggling with porn addiction, is No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. Now, the second book that I think all young men should be reading, and specifically if you're struggling with harnessing some of this sexual energy, if you're struggling with semen retention, you cannot go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks without masturbating, is The Way of the Superior Man by Dr. David Dita. I'm sorry, not Dr. David, but by David Dita. The Way of the Superior Man is going to get into the masculine energy. It's going to get into the polarity between the masculine and the feminine. It's going to give you some real-time practical tools of how to harness your sexual energy, of how to get clear, of how to bring this energy down into you, transmute it, and then direct it back out in the world for creation of good. The Way of Superior Man by David Dita, a book I believe every young man should read. And specifically, like I said, if you're struggling with purpose, if you're struggling with creative energy, if you're struggling with sex transmutation, pick up The Way of Superior Man by David Dita. Okay, and the third book I think that all young men, specifically if you're struggling with porn and masturbation, need to be reading is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. We've talked a lot about it. There's a chapter in the book dedicated to sex transmutation, which we gave you David's book to read for that. But this book was actually written before Think and Grow Rich. And his family, the entire legacy, held on to it for almost 100 years before its publication, before its release, because of the insight. Now in the book, I do recommend reading it, but also getting the audio, because the audible version takes the different voices. So in the book, Napoleon himself is having a conversation with the devil. And when you listen to it, the polarity in the voices is so intriguing, not intriguing, but there's such a difference in the voice that it brings a new sense of energy into the book. Now in the book, the devil talks about his goal, his objective with man is to take him off of man's direction of purpose or definitive of purpose, and that you turn into a drifter. When I think you're struggling with pornography, you are a drifter in life. You're struggling with purpose. You're struggling with meaning. And if you can understand how this has been an attack on men since the 20s and even before, if we can understand that our goal as men is to have a definitive of purpose, is to have something that we're working towards every single day, something we're creating for good, something we're serving others, something that we're leading others. We're not meant to drift through life. We're not meant to seek pleasure every single waking minute of our lives. And I think Napoleon Hill in Outwitting the Devil does an incredible job of bringing things to surface, of highlighting what's going on in the world. Like I said, the book was written over 100 years ago, and it speaks so true, so much of what young men are dealing with and struggling with today. So Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. So there you have it, guys. 3 new book recommendations: Outwitting the Devil, The Way of the Superior Man, and No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. Now, these books in and of themselves will not give you everything you need to overcome your pornography addiction. The fact of the matter is you're going to have to take responsibility for your life. You're going to have to take responsibility for overcoming this. And if you want some tools, if you want an actual laid out plan that's going to help you in achieving this, then down in the first pinned comment below, what I'm going to do is put a link to our free course. It's the 7-step guide for living life with porn. If you click that link, put in your email address, we'll send the book over to you guys right away. But I'm also going to put a link to all 3 of these books down there in the description box below. So grab the books, guys. Begin to take action on them. I believe in you. You can overcome this. You can become the man that you were created to be by quitting porn and rebuilding lives. Frank Rich, Rebuild Recovery. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.